Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Ron is right here, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Saturday. Just wanted to do a brief video this evening, calling attention to something that has been getting discussed this week on SPTV, and it has to do with Scientology Sea Organization and how they treat their elderly Sea Org members, particularly when they get to an age where they can no longer perform their post duties the way a normal Sea Org member would. Now, this week, you've heard a story about Rosemary Chickwalk, whose son, Mike Brown, helped her escape from Scientology Sea Organization from one of the homes where they send elderly Sea Org members to die. Mike Rinder, Claire Headley, and Mike Brown did a two-part chat on that. That video's on all three of their channels. I've put a link to that video in the description down below. The purpose of this video this evening is to highlight some information, some additional information that was contained in a blog post that Mike Rinder did. This is Mike's post. There's also a link to this blog post in the description down below. This blog post has a lot of information, including a letter that Rosemary wrote to Tom Cruise and David Miscavige about how elderly are abused in the Sea Organization. Obviously, she knows that they know, but the letter was just to document the fact that they can't, that they've been informed if they ever want to claim they didn't know. There was a pre-litigation demand letter that Rosemary sent to Scientology. And some other information that Rosemary provided after she escaped was the list of other elderly Sea Org members who are being housed in these homes where Sea Org members are sent to die. Sea Org members are sent to these homes. They are not provided with skilled medical care. These are not medical facilities. These are not assisted living facilities. These are just literally residential homes owned by Scientology, supervised by non-medically qualified personnel. Okay, so let's and I want to share what I'm going to share is Rosemary gave a list of the names of the Sea Org members. And we're going to go through that list because for those of you who might be watching, whose family members are on this list, please consider calling the LAPD and asking for them to conduct a welfare check on your elderly relative. So let's take a look at this. There's several of these properties. This is the list of elderly Sea Org members Rosemary is aware of. Pack base elderly Sea Org members. The Glendale house called Oak Ridge Inn 2, 1225 Oak Ridge Drive, Glendale, California. This facility is a residential boarding care facility run by a private contractor, a non-Scientologist by the name of Romik Rostomayan. I'm almost certainly saying that wrong. The Scientology is billed $3,000 per person. I'm guessing that's $3,000 per person per month. 24-hour caregiver able to assist residents. There's a total of 6 residents in that house. 4 of them are Sea Org members. There's no food plan. Meals are haphazard and unbalanced. Residents with dementia do not comment on the food due to their mental state. One of the residents with Parkinson's has special dietary needs that are provided for her daily by her husband, who lives in one of the other houses. Residents who are placed here are thought to be high risk medically and not authorized to be at the medical house or on the pack base. The pack base is Scientology speak for the Scientology organizations that are located on L. Ron Hubbard Way in Hollywood. Okay, Daphne Griffin Smith, Alona Gallup, Rosemary Chickwalk. She was at the Rosemary's the one who escaped with the help of her family members. By the way, this was discussed in the video, but I just want to highlight it for all of you who may not know. Assisting in the escape of Rosemary Chickwalk was Justin Miscavige and Rowan Hubbard, a member of the Miscavige family, and L. Ron Hubbard's granddaughter helped Rosemary escape from the Sea Organization. It's a bad, bad day to be David Miscavige. Every day is a bad day to be David Miscavige. Okay. Sandra Johnson. Okay, so those are people on that property. Glenwood House, Oak Ridge Inn, number 1, 1281 Oak Ridge Drive, Glendale, California. So the only person at this property is Stanley Doyle, who's suffering from dementia. The medical house at 1200 North Edgemont Street in Hollywood. This is a property where senior citizens or Sea Org members with terminal illnesses are housed if their illness is deemed too bad off to live on the pack base. It's a Scientology-owned property where residents largely are required to care for themselves. No skilled care is provided. The residents are required to organize and conduct themselves as active duty Sea Org members while living there, with some work requirements, a rank structure, and are kept largely isolated from the outside world with no TV, internet, minimal phone access, etc. Barbell Light, the PAC MLO for seniors, deliver at the medical house. Okay, so I'm not sure if Barbell is the liaison to these folks or if she's one of these folks. Nancy Phelps. Okay. Suzanne Justice suffered from a stroke, high blood pressure, heart problems. Carol Haugen suffered from a stroke. Janice James suffered from a stroke. Weldon Caldwell, stroke, congestive heart failure, heart attack. Received money from Social Security, was made to pay and take out loans for services and IAS donations. He's unable to cover his bills with Social Security income. Guys, for those of you who are not familiar with the discussion, the multi-part discussions about Rosemary Chickwalk this week, Rosemary spent many decades as a Sea Org member at the international base. She was then busted down to the PAC base, again, L. Ron Hubbard Way. While she was there, elderly, senior citizen, Scientology fundraisers, using her Social Security number and her information, opened up and maxed out over $160,000 worth of credit cards in Rosemary's name and turned all the money over to Scientology. This is actually what Scientology does with its elderly Sea Org members who are sent off to these homes to die. They commit credit card fraud and identity theft, opening up hundreds of thousands of dollars of unsecured debt in the names of these elderly Sea Org members, knowing that the Sea Org members aren't going to complain, and it's unsecured debt, so they're not going to have to pay it back, and they're going to die anyway, and then the debt's going to be erased, so who really gives a damn? That is what Scientology does, and it is crimes such as this that, mark my words, will result in their tax-exempt status being revoked, in my humble opinion. Okay. Weldon Caldwell. Oh, that's the one we just read. Kylie Rose Kevitt, a.k.a. Kylie Rose Pierce. I personally know Kylie Rose Pierce. I've known her since I was about 15 years old. The fact that she has been diagnosed with some type of terminal illness, and these people are still required to continue to live out the remainder of their years as an indentured Sea Org worker, instead of being allowed to just go enjoy the last how many years of life that you have left. Many Scientologists know Kylie Rose Pierce and would be shocked to learn that she's been diagnosed with a terminal illness and is still slaving away in Los Angeles. She's from Australia. She could go back to Australia, get some sort of government care, She doesn't need to be being a Sea Org slave in Los Angeles. Damien Kevitt. I personally know Damien Kevitt. It was a horrible story of a Sea Org member who was a very high producing and respected auditor in the Sea organization. He liked riding his bike, like a Tour de France street racing bike. And he was hit by a car and dragged under the car and had his leg amputated. And I remember visiting him in the hospital, and I can't even believe the guy stayed in the Sea Org. I honestly can't believe the Sea Org wanted to keep him. I can't believe he's agreed to live the rest of his life as a handicapped Sea Org member, sent off. He's probably not dying. He's probably living in that house because his wife is dying and he's handicapped. So why not just stick him there? You know what I mean? You can see Damien and Kylie are both about 45 years old. I'm 43, so we're about the same age. Gail Mortensen, 68 years old, cancer. Ed Smith, 75 years old, heart trouble. Faith Schermerhorn, caregiver for her husband. Tom Schermerhorn, 70 years old. Carla Cohen, cancer, 65 years old. This one's really got me surprised here. Suki, 55 years old. Guys, that can only be Suki Gama. I mean, how many guys in the Sea Organization are there named Suki? Suki Gama was the commanding officer for Wise West US. He was one of the robust, most healthy, fittest guys you could ever imagine in the Sea Organization. And it doesn't even say what's wrong with him on this list, but that has to be Suki Gama. Harold, I guess we don't know his last name. Cheryl Krishko, Jack Krishko, Mike Spallino, Eunice Spallino, Pam Bowen. Pam Bowen's been there forever. Don Bowen, Margie Esterman. I cannot believe Margie's still alive. That is incredible. She was having serious medical problems when I was still in the Sea Organization back in 2006. Margie Esterman and Mitch Esterman. And Margie Esterman, by the way, Margie Esterman, at least in the world of Scientology, she's like a class 8 case supervisor. Like Margie Esterman is a big deal in the world of Scientology technical delivery in the Sea Organization. And she's just sent off to a house to die. Her husband, Mitch Esterman, I know Margie very well. I've known Margie since I was like 13. Her husband, Mitch, I know him as well. And their son, in fact, their son in the Sea Organization used to be married to Kylie Rose Pierce. And then they got divorced. I'm not sure if the son is still in the Sea Org. No, the son is out of the Sea Org, I believe. So imagine you're Margie, you're Mitch, you've been in the Sea Org for like 2 generations. Your son was born into the Sea Org. In fact, their son, I don't mean to tell tales out of school. I think one of the reasons he was sent out of Mint Management is he's one of the 2nd generation Sea Org members who attempted to take his own life at the international base. If I'm wrong about that, I apologize, but I believe that is true. I do know him. And so he's out of the Sea Org. He's out, I believe, living, a real life. And his poor parents are stuck in the Sea Org, just shipped off to the house to die. That's Scientology. Okay, Pack Base. Now, Pack Base, again, guys, that's L. Ron Hubbard Way and main building. If you ever look at L. Ron Hubbard Way at the southwesternmost point of L. Ron Hubbard Way, there's a giant V-shaped building. It's the old Cedars of Lebanon Hospital Complex, and it's got the big Scientology sign on it. That's called main building. That entire building, from the 3rd floor on up is just dormitories and bedrooms for Sea Org members. The 2nd floor is like the cafeteria for the Sea Org members, but that entire building is just where people live. And the 2nd floor in particular has always notoriously been a piece of shit. And so main building room 216, which means it's on the 2nd floor. The room, this room is where elderly female Sea Org members from the local orgs are housed. It's a converted large storage room separated into 2 individual rooms that has no windows, no fresh air intakes, and no air exhaust. Residents combined funds to purchase portable heater air conditioners for the room that vents into an elevator shaft close by, as nothing was provided by the organization. The room has 2 refrigerators, which is uncommon for staff. It's got a small kitchenette, and it has its own bathroom with a sink and a toilet, but no shower. Only a tub, but not handicapped accessible. Other lavatory and shower facilities are located down the hall. Open bay design. Any Sea Org member knows exactly what this is talking about. Many of the following names are suspected to have been subjected to illegal financial practices. They were made to pull out lines of credit to pay for Scientology services at the local Scientology organizations. Credit was stated to be obtained from the Navy Federal Credit Union and Chase banks, but other banks were likely also used. Fundraisers from all of the organizations on L. Ron Hubbard Way were actively having Sea Org members pay for Scientology auditing that should have been given to them for free between 2011 and 2015. Some form of internal Sea Org investigation was conducted, and some of the fundraisers were forced to leave the Sea Organization. And money was never refunded. Money taken was never refunded from Scientology to those Sea Org members. That made them take out loans, resulting in most, if not all, of the below named individuals still paying off debt using their Social Security money. That's right. These elderly Sea Org members, usually they've had lives before the Sea Org in some cases, and they receive some small amount of Social Security income. And so the fundraisers, one of the ways they've justified all this, illegal activity is just use your Social Security income to service the debt until you die. So that, I mean, I for real, no exaggeration. Just service the debt until you die. And then what's the problem? You're free and clear. Those are the laws. We're not, Residents in room 216 are Rosemarie Paquette. Looks like she already died. Florence Petro. Flo Petro. Looks like she already died. They all died in debt. Linda Hall. Patricia Hammerson. Pat Hammerson. Jane Garreau. Judy Ferguson. Jan Blout. Actually, wasn't that one of the names in the early? I think we saw that name already. Jan Blout. Kathy Johnson. KJ. I know KJ. Yeah, she was a fundraiser at AOA for a long time. Janet Weiland. Charlotte Cook. Okay, those are the names. Guys, just, I know a lot of under-the-radar Scientologists, a lot of former Sea Org members who are still technically in good standing watch these videos, guys. Or even if you're a non-Scientologist who's related to some of these people, call the LAPD and ask for a welfare check. These people are not being taken care of in facilities that meet any normal required standards for how to care for elderly people who need medical assistance. These people are being left to fend for themselves. Scientology does not care about keeping them alive. Scientology wishes they would just die. Just drop the body. Yeah. I wish it was a more upbeat video, but some things are just not upbeat. All right. Let's do a few super chats here and we'll wrap it up. Lady BB, happy birthday to you yesterday. And thank you, Goldie, for all you do and for being so kind. Thank you, Aaron, for all you do to get all the ones that want help and making it safe for them to tell their story. Thank you, Lady BB. It's my pleasure. Storm66, thank you very much. Russ H, taking back your life. Hey, Aaron, can we as non-Scientologists do anything to help these people? It's heartbreaking. Do these elderly have people watching them and preventing them from leaving also? Security guards are posted around all of these buildings. It's probably accurate to say these people aren't like actively trying to escape. You have to understand this world is all they've known. I mean, in some cases, it's all they've known for 20 or 30 years, even if they had a life prior to being in the Sea Organization. Also, where are they going to go? How would they get anywhere? Like, they don't have the means to leave, and therefore they're not trying to leave. Plus, they're old, they're feeble. It's not like they're going to be running down Hollywood Sunset Boulevard trying to get the hell out of there. But even if they wanted to leave, they wouldn't be able to because of the security guards. For the most part, I would say there isn't anything a non-Scientologist can do to help these people in particular. That's why it's important that family members that they have that are out there be the ones to actually call the LAPD and say, look, a woman who recently escaped from an elderly woman who was sent off to one of these homes to die, recently escaped from one of these facilities with the help of her family. And she's reported that my family member is on a list of the people who's in one of these homes and is not getting the care they need. Please check on their welfare. The LAPD can do such checks, and family members can request such checks. And, the Aftermath Foundation, when Rosemary escaped, the Aftermath Foundation, for what feels like about a year now, has been paying for Rosemary's assisted, her family helped her escape, took her on the other side of the country to live with her family. And, but she needed skilled medical care. So the foundation paid for Rosemary to be, admitted. What's the right word? Like, for her to be, she is in a professional medical assisted living facility very close to her family so that she can get the care that she needs. Now, Rosemary and her family sent a demand letter to Scientology saying, look, you got to give us this money back or we're going to file an official lawsuit. And Scientology, without even responding to the letter, deposited $163,000 into Rosemary's checking account. So I'm telling that story because any one of these people, if their family wanted to help them escape and needed help getting them cared for, the Aftermath Foundation is prepared to help. But, you know, it's got to be the family members who do it. The Aftermath Foundation doesn't go and bust people out. We provided assistance to the monetary assistance to the family that was doing that. We can't do that for people. The family has to do that themselves. Thank you for the super chat. SPTV Tattoo Warrior, someone from the chat was trolling me yesterday, pretending to be you, saying they got no package from me. I have his number, but I told him to kick rocks. Call me afterwards, Barb. Call me afterwards. Leaving Scientology. Pierrette Petsonk, elderly scammed by Regis. Okay, there you go. Marcia Bentley, don't believe the terminal diagnoses. Get independent medical in there now. That is an excellent point. Rosemary was basically told she had weeks to live. The longer she spends away from Scientology, the healthier she gets. So that's a very good point. How do these people even know they've got a correct diagnosis? Scientology certainly doesn't care to make sure they have a correct diagnosis. All right, guys. That's it for this evening. That's it for this video, and that's it for this evening. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you, as always, to everybody who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe